So I did Entrepreneur First. Entrepreneur First is an accelerator for aspiring entrepreneurs, so people who are maybe on an academic path or corporate path and want to try it out and see what it's like to be a founder. And that's where you get to go in, try different ideas. And I did this program in London, so I applied for it. And in fact, it already started like that week, and they said, just come over like next week. And I remember like I just quit my job and I was like, next week? Like
Okay, let's get started. Mika, I'm so excited to hear about your story. The reason why I found this amazing entrepreneur is AI event, right? Tokyo AI, yeah, right? By Ilya, and then I found her. You came to our event, right?
Yeah.
Techstars event.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's why. Anyway, tell us about yourself. What do you do in San Francisco and here Tokyo?
So, hi everyone, my name is Mika. So I am a startup founder, and our startup is based in San Francisco. It's called Taco. I'm currently in Tokyo for a temporary visit, and I was super fortunate to meet Ilya and Kaori and go to different events and just experience the startup ecosystem here. But my life is basically doing my startup, sometimes from different locations, and serving our customers.
I see. Yeah, Taco is her startup. Okay, let's deep dive into about Taco. When and why did you start your Taco?
Yeah, so why we started, I think that's a very core question that every founder is asking themselves. So why do you do what you do? I think for us, so my co-founder had this idea first, and he wanted to create something that helps people analyze their calendar. It was like a very basic feature, I would say, in the beginning, where you just get to export your calendar and just get to see what happened there. I think he was facing the issue of leading a team and trying to understand what everybody's up to, like what's the biggest time like blocker, or what takes the most time, what takes too little time that they should focus on. And from this core idea, Taco was born as a very basic feature, and then over time we developed, as at some point I joined him on this adventure, and over time it developed into this calendar analytics solution, time tracking solution directly in the calendar. And at the moment we have 400 customers, and
Already?
Yeah. And we even have a few Japanese companies, which is completely coincidental because they reached out to me. Yeah. That's why very special to be in Japan right now as well.
Okay. So Taco is like a B2B, business to business software.
Yes, absolutely. We do have some consumers, but most of our users are B2B. Yeah.
I see. And you mentioned a calendar. For example, as a business person, we do scheduling. There are Google Calendar and Microsoft Calendar and maybe Apple Calendar, like many calendars. And they have to reschedule or like that. Kind of a similar idea to optimize this calendar scheduling?
So we're less in the scheduling space. So we considered, actually, we even had a small feature about scheduling. We decided not to go in that direction. There is quite a few companies out there, Cal.com, Calendly, that do a great job with scheduling. What we help people understand is look back, or maybe look into the future, see what their appointments are about, and understand which client is taking most time, which project is taking most time. Am I underinvesting in this area that's very important, but only 10% of my time goes there, but it should be on our roadmap. It should take more of my attention. And so we help people make informed decisions about what they would like to focus on and where their company is going. And especially interesting for leadership teams to understand, like, am I doing what I decided to do for my company? And also for team leaders, just to make sure that the team is aligned and goes in a similar direction.
I see. Okay, interesting. Could you please share about something use case?
A use case? That's a good one. So one use case, for example, pre-sales teams.
Pre-sales.
Yeah, for example, pre-sales teams, they usually work with potential clients, and they need to support salespeople, maybe with some technical deep dives. They need to help them win customers. And for them, it's sometimes really hard to tell is their attention evenly distributed? Are they focusing on the customers that have the highest potential on their business, for example? And they want to have the right balance between marketing activities, customer activities, and maybe training and development. And so team leaders from pre-sales teams usually use to see that time distribution and make sure that they spend no more than 20% of their time on marketing, for example. Even if it is marketing, what's taking so much time? Turns out it's preparation, not even the marketing event itself. So can we reduce that workload? Can we create some material so people spend less time preparing and more time with customers? So these type of decisions that we help support.
How did you meet your co-founder?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. So we don't have this very typical story of having met at university or having met because we worked somewhere together. So basically, I left my job in big tech and I wanted to found a company. And I had different product ideas that I was working with. I was testing them, trying to launch things and see what sticks with people. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm crazy to go without a co-founder. And like, but something in me, like I had this itch and I just really wanted to start doing. So I just started building different things like like a website and different wait lists for different products and see what people sign up for. And we did a product hunt launch with somebody I was working with before. And I launched something and then I saw 2 weeks later that this person who is now my co-founder also launched something very similar. And then I think just over this shared interest of building in that particular space, we started talking and brainstorming. Like, what did you learn? Why did you decide to build it this way? Why not this first? And I think over time we just kept brainstorming, meeting one another, and then decided to, embark on this journey together.
This is awesome because of I think many people feel, oh, he or she is a rival, competitor. Don't like connect with me. But yeah, you are so open. So you started to have a conversation with your potential co-founder, and then brainstorm together. So online or had a coffee in person?
No, it was online because I was in Berlin and he was in San Francisco. Completely online.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah, we did meet in person eventually, but I think the first I don't know how many sessions we did virtually, and then
Amazing. Yeah, open mind is the key to find a great team member. I learned. Okay. Next, did you join any accelerator program?
So I did Entrepreneur First. Entrepreneur First is an accelerator for aspiring entrepreneurs. So people who are maybe on an academic path or corporate path and want to try it out and see what it's like to be a founder. And that's where you get to go in, try different ideas, find potential co-founder, and you do it in a cohort of 60 people who are all available at the same time. And I did this program in London, so I applied for it, and they had a cohort starting in London. In fact, it already started like that week, and they said, just come over like next week. And I remember like I just quit my job and I was like, next week? Like,
What can I say? Destiny.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, so I was like, okay. And they're like, if you can't come next week, come like in 6 months. And I was like, there's no way I'm coming in 6 months. I have to be there now.
Did you hear about this story? It's so, what can I say, quick. You didn't like, what should I do? I have to book hotel first. I have to ask your mom. No, she did super quick.
Yeah, I remember booking a flight and the week after, so I had a 1 weekend in between. And then I figured out like housing and stuff on my way. But yeah, it was definitely an adventure.
Yeah. Okay, so kind of not only like only weekend, right? Kind of like a few weeks, the program.
So I was there in total for 3 months.
3 months! Kind of a short of moving.
Yeah.
So, okay. Decided to 3 months. So, okay, you have to bye-bye to your apartment.
I was in Munich at the time. I did not get rid of that apartment. My husband was still staying there. I just went and I had temporary housing in the UK. And the good thing also about programs like there's Entrepreneur First, there's Antler. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur and you're like in a job and you're wondering like, should I do it? It's like a 3-month program. If it goes well, it can go to like 6 months, or you can forever be an entrepreneur, depending on how it goes. But They also have kind of like a founder scholarship. If they really like your idea, and a few weeks in, they invest into you. And so it can be a really gradual but good path for people who are wondering if that's something they should do.
Amazing. So the program name is Entrepreneur First. Is this like a UK program?
It started in London, so the founders are from the UK, and they do have offices. So they used to have one in Berlin, but they do have, I think, quite a big one actually in Singapore, which covers a lot of Asian founders who want to go, or people who just happen to be in Southeast Asia or Asia and want to start a company. I think they have India, but I'm not sure about Tokyo. I know that in Tokyo there is Entler, which has a very similar concept. So Entler Japan operates under the similar principles. You come in, you stay there for a few weeks, months, and then just try it out. And then there's also kind of like some support from them in training as well.
I see. Okay, so Mika, how was the life in London? And also, how was the program? Like in person?
So I think it's interesting because now I've seen the startup ecosystem in London, Berlin, San Francisco, and I've been in Tokyo for a little over a month. And thanks to people like you, I've experienced some things here. I think London is just like every big city, like New York, London, Tokyo. It's just so big, multifaceted, and it has a lot of different types of professions and sectors that are thriving. And London, like New York especially, is also very much of a finance-driven city. The stock exchange and so the startup ecosystem tends to be, I wouldn't say small, but comparative to the city, it's kind of small, like especially if compared to San Francisco, like the whole city has something to do with startups and technology companies. London is like very much still driven by finance and other sectors and banks, but then there is the small startup ecosystem, and I would say it's just saturated in a few hotspots. Like, so in order to be there, in order to meet the people who are also building, you have to go to this part of the city and you have to meet them. And I think similar is in Tokyo. Tokyo is also like, it has so many different lives. Like it's the biggest city in the world, and then to meet startup people you have to like kind of understand, like even this place, right? You have to know this innovation base or just a few places. Compared to San Francisco, you go to any cafe and half of the people are in startups, or they have a conversation that you may have had 3 days ago, and that of course has a very powerful effect on you. Yeah,
I see. And then so program was every single day?
Yeah, it was, I would say, every single day there's either a session, or you just want to go be there all the time, like because everybody is building something and you just want to be all the time. You want to brainstorm ideas, and also the way they do it is they kind of like encourage you to find a co-founder. So like the first sprint is maybe, for example, 3 weeks, and then another 3 weeks, and they want you to try working with somebody for the first 3 weeks, and then if you're not sure about something, break up fast and then go work with somebody else, and then do it until you find the right match. And so within this, like, they create this like very artificial pressure to go try it out, and so you don't want to miss out on any single moment. Like, you want to be there, you want to see what people are working on, you want to see who you should be working with. And so I would say it was like a very intense period of time.
I love that. But like kind of boot camp, like every day intense, and so like dense time with like not friend but kind of student or people who stayed together. Did you get something bond or connection with them?
Yeah, I think it's so hard, right? Like, once you finish high school, university, after that, you don't have a similar experience anymore. With your colleagues, you sometimes, depending on how big your company is, but you cross paths, then you don't work on the same project anymore, and still not the same, right? Like, so I think a program like this really has this bootcamp style, like very short period of time, but very good opportunity to build very close connection because of how intense it is and because of all this pressure. So you're kind of facing similar journey, especially like as a founder. It feels like the whole world is against you. Like, nobody wants what you're building yet. Like, you haven't figured out enough that you have enough support from the world, right? So where you get support from is other people who are trying to do the same. And so being in a program like that really helps to feel like you're not alone on the journey. You can share learnings, you can share experiences, painful moments, wins and losses, and because of that, it creates a lot of I would say not a lot of close relation, but it has enough potential to give you that type of support system, that type of network that a lot of people are striving for.
I see. Oh, I wish I could join. I'm so interested in this story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what do you think before joining this accelerator program and then after? Your mindset was changed? What do you think?
I think one big realization for me was before I entered this program, I was like, okay, I have this idea and like all these different ideas that I was playing with, and I thought that ideas matter. I thought that ideas are, and I do still think that ideas still matter, but it's by far not the most important thing in a startup. When I entered, I realized that anybody can have like lots of ideas. Like I'm gonna build an app for, I don't know, exchanging food on the streets or like whatever. And I think what's very special about these programs is that they help you realize that the most important thing in the company is more or less your team, so how good your match is. So that's why they try to pressure you, like go work with 5 people and figure out who is the best match. So the certain energy you have with your co-founder and the type of productivity and outcome you can achieve together is by far the most valuable thing, because you can always pivot to a different idea. You cannot so easily pivot to different personality, right? So that's number one realization that I had. And second one is that far more than ideas, what's more important is actually some type of unique insight or some type of something about the world that you may have noticed. Because, for example, you lived in Japan and you went to SF, and then you see that they're missing something that Japan does better, and then you have this but nobody in SF, even if you tell them, it's very hard for them to imagine. Even if they come visit, if you haven't lived through this type of experience, it's maybe harder to recreate, and that's kind of a unique insight, because anybody can say, I'm going to create a Japan-like experience of onsen in SF, right? But unless you know how it works and the deep roots of it, it's very hard to recreate. So I think this type of unique set of thoughts, insights, experiences, and that you can meet in somebody else, that can be very, very, and ideally if both of you and your co-founder bond over something, like the future that you want to create, the kind of vision you have, that can be very powerful, and that's much more valuable than a certain idea.
The 3 key takeaways from Conversation Mika Part 1. 1. Startup success is more about the right team than the right idea. Before joining the Entrepreneur First Accelerator, Mika believed that having a great idea was the key to startup success. However, through the program, she realized that the co-founder relationship and team dynamic matter far more than any single ideas. Example, when Mika joined Entrepreneur First, she saw many founders testing different startup ideas. Some ideas changed completely over 3 months program. But the founders who built strong teams kept going, even if their first idea failed. Mika herself didn't start with tackle, but meeting the right co-founder helped her shape the business into what it is today. Key insight: ideas can change, but a strong, collaborative, adaptable team is what drives success. 2. The accelerator experience: why speed and adaptability matter. Mika joined Entrepreneur First, an intense startup accelerator where aspiring founders test ideas and find co-founders in just 3 months. How to experiment, fail quickly, and pivot fast, an essential mindset for startup founders. Example, when Mika got accepted into Entrepreneur First, they told her, come next week or wait 6 months. She didn't hesitate. She packed her bags and moved to London within days. Once in the program, she was so hungry to learn that she didn't want to even a single moment. Every day, she surrounded herself with ambitious founders testing ideas, brainstorming, and absorbing knowledge. She quickly realized that the ability to make fast decisions and take advantage to learning opportunities is just as important as the idea itself. Key insight: founders must embrace uncertainty, move fast, and be willing to pivot. Waiting too long can mean missing big opportunities. 3. The power of open-minded collaboration in finding co-founder. Mika found her co-founder in an unexpected way, not through school or work, but by learning similar projects online. Instead of seeing each other as competitors, they started brainstorming and sharing insights, learning to a natural partnership. Example: Mika had built a small product and launched it on Product Hunt. 2 weeks later, she saw someone else, who is now her co-founder, launching something similar. Instead of treating him as a competitor, she reached out and they started sharing ideas. Over time, their conversations turned into a partnership, and they co-founded Taku together, all while working remotely in different countries. Key insight: the best co-founders may not be in your existing network. They might be someone you meet online at event, or even competitor turned collaborator. Yes, thank you so much for watching our conversation today. We hope this episode will help your future and career. If you like this episode, please give your like and subscribe us. Okay, the next episode is the conversation with Mika, part 2. Stay tuned. Bye bye. またね。